Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today we have a run that I have been working on for some time now. You guys might have seen me attempting this on stream. And the last time we attempted it was before STR Cooler's Easy A. I think it was literally like the day before. And we talked about the fact that on the stream this would be much easier to do once he got his Easy A, especially if his Easy A was good, which of course it very much is. Unfortunately, getting super attacked in slot 1 on turn 1 is definitely not what he's good at. But anyway, the whole point of this run is we are doing the mission for the BROLY red zone stage, where you have to beat the stage using an extreme unit of each typing. So extreme AGL, extreme tech, extreme int, extreme physical, and extreme STR. But because obviously this mission pretty easy, depending on, you know, if you've got all the 200% leaders, if you've got all the new LRs from the worldwide download celebration. I mean, I've already done a video of, like, you know, STR LR Cooler's team absolutely clapping this stage. But the point of this video and the point of this run and why it has been such a challenge is I wanted to get a video of this run without using a 200% leader, or at least you're not using your own 200% leader, right? Because there are a bunch of you guys out there, you didn't pull Cooler, you didn't pull Metal Cooler, you didn't pull AGL Cell, you didn't pull Captain Ginyu, so you don't have any of the extreme 200% leaders. Margin Vegeta, can you even make a full extreme team for him that's actually good with one unit of each typing? I guess you probably can, but I don't know if it would be great for this. But yeah, so the whole point was to try and do a run where we beat the stage without using a 200% leader to show that it can be done. I was trying it out, well, actually we still are using AGL Turles as the leader, so we are technically using a movie bosses team, because AGL Turles gives 170% to movie bosses. He also gives 100% to extreme class, but because when we tried it out on the first attempts, I tried out using units like Cooliza, who is very good, but because he's not a movie boss, only getting a 100% lead, he wasn't able to stack up super quickly, and then obviously he'd be a huge liability against AGL BROLY. So STR Cooler getting his Easy A is definitely a feather in the cap that makes this run a lot easier. You could use him as the leader, because of course he has Transformation Boost and Terrifying Conquerors. I was trying to think, why did I not do that? I think the int unit was the one I was kind of struggling with, whereas obviously on this team we use int BROLY because he is on movie bosses. He's not on Transformation Boost, unfortunately. None of the legendary Super Saiyan Brolys are in Transformation Boost. Only the Tech LR Broly is in there because he transforms from Super Saiyan Broly into Legendary Super Saiyan, which I think is unfortunate. Like, this guy, if he was on Cooler's 200% lead, like if he was on Transformation Boost, he'd be insane. Like, I still think he is one of the most underrated, like, 2021 Dokkan Fest exclusives, and he continues to be good to this day, right? Type disadvantage is where he's going to be at his weakest, but because of his damage reduction, like, he's still good in all of these red zone stages, like I say, aside from against physical enemies. He is a bit RNG based, because obviously you want to get off as many super attacks as possible, but I'm fairly sure during this run we do actually get a few good turns where he gets multiple super attacks. I believe he gets a couple of supers on the turn where we use the active skill as well, which is obviously the turn where you ideally want to get the best RNG. So speaking of good RNG, double super from Janemba in slot 2 is really big here, because obviously Janemba needs to attack multiple times in slot 2 to get fully built up. So if he gets an additional attack, that is obviously a huge benefit. And then STR Cooler, he's able to float in the third spot and provide support to units like the Janemba, and obviously the other, like, you know, Freezer and Coolers on the other rotation, while stacking that defense. He stacks his defense very, very quickly. And then, of course, we are using a friend Final Form Cooler. Now, for the Tech unit, as you can see, I am running the Tech Easy A Final Form Cooler instead of the Tech Golden Freezer. I'm actually not using either of the Golden Freezers. And the funny thing is, on this example, because we've started out this run, we got quite a bit of bad luck with eating supers early on. So when you see the amount of HP that we're on at the moment, the fact that we actually did manage to beat the stage, I feel like is pretty impressive. Obviously, when you're trying to do it without a 200% leader, it is a lot more difficult. Even if you can copy this exact team, you might get unlucky and not be able to do it on the first try. But if you can build this exact team, you should be able to do it. And then obviously, if you do have your own LR cooler, you just bring him as the leader, and then you will be good to go. So the reason why I bought Tech Final Form Cooler instead of Golden Freezer is because Golden Freezer can obviously let you down when you're below a certain amount of HP, and he doesn't have his damage reduction, which would have been the case on this turn. So even though we're only taking normal attacks, Tech Golden Freezer without his passive active would have potentially taken a pretty reasonable amount of damage. Turles unable to finish off BROLY, taking 50k after raising his defense on super. So as you can see, we are very, very low on HP at this point. The Metamorphosis link from Janemba coming in clutch, getting us a little bit of heal. Obviously just trying to grab same type orbs here as much as possible. Get the 4 type orbs for Janemba to give him the buff. Didn't really need it because Broly's obviously going to kill. BROLY getting that extra stack is obviously beneficial for later on in the event. And, you know, type advantage, got damage reduction, so very safe in slot 1. Just grab the type orbs for Janemba to give him that little bit of an extra buff, just in case there was a super in slot 1. Although I think we potentially would have just died anyway, right? Because BROLY has 18% damage reduction, and then he gets an extra 18% when he super attacks, as long as you're fighting a pure or hybrid Saiyan. So here we are in the AoE phase, and this is where I had to make a fairly difficult decision, because I checked the defense of everybody at the start of the turn, and everybody's defense is around like the 300 to 400k mark or slightly higher. Because one of the things that makes this run a lot harder with the lower leader skill is if you use the double Whis during the AoE stage strategy, it means you have no items for when you get to AGL BROLY. And so then all it takes is the wrong unit taking a super attack, even when you have a reasonable amount of HP, and that could be the run over with. So I decided to take the risk here and only use 1 Whis. If he super attacked in slot 1, I don't know if we would have survived the turn, but obviously LR Cooler getting to attack first means that he's buffed his defense up quite a lot. So he takes double digits, I'm pretty sure. Yep. And then STR Cooler takes 120k, and Tech Cooler takes about 140 to 150. So as you can see, we are below 10% HP, but we are alive. And both these units, the STR Cooler and the Tech Final Form Cooler, who they share 7 out of 7 links, by the way, so very good rotation for both of them. 6.4 million, which is another reason why I chose to bring Tech Cooler over Golden Freezer, is because Tech Cooler actually does quite a decent amount of damage, especially when we get to the end against the AGL BROLY, because he can do multiple super attacks as well as part of his passive. So he can put out a ton of damage while still being pretty good defensively. Turles getting the transformation was exactly what I wanted to see here. Obviously, he heals at the start of the turn when he transforms, so that is very, very good. Just grabbing same type orbs. Couldn't get the 18 key super. Well, we could have got the 18 key super for Janemba, but I wanted to prioritize the same type orbs instead. And fortunately, no super in slot 1, so we do get away with just using the single Whis. Because I'm not sure if Janemba actually kills. He would if he crit, I think. Actually, no, I don't know if he would on his 12 key. But again, that kind of works in our favor, because now Int BROLY is able to get off another super attack or 2, which gives him another couple of stacks to his defense, which is all going to come in very handy when we get to the final phase, which is now. So yeah, only got 1 super, but it is 1 extra stack. Turles is still transformed, so when he appears again, it means we get another heal. And then, of course, that gives us the perfect opportunity to now, here on this turn, I believe I go ahead and use the Whis straight away. Because even though both the coolers have very good defense, if they get super attacked by BROLY on this turn, we're dead, right? STR Cooler, I'm not sure how much he would take if he only got 1 extra super. The LR Cooler, if he gets multiple 12 keys, then obviously with a Whis active he would be able to survive. But I decide to get this AGL stage finished off as quickly as possible. We just go full offense. So we transform STR Cooler, and I put him in slot 1. Because post-transformation, we already saw that his defense is close to, if not 500k now that he's actually transformed. And I'm trying to play the orbs carefully here so I can get the 4 type orbs with Janemba. Because now, not only do we have a Whis active, but we got his support, which means that the cooler is at like well over 500k defense. And you see there, we actually got attacked in slot 1, which means we got the glitch with the active skill where he had the no action, like, action in slot 1, and that was what got nullified by Cooler's active skill. Which, again, I should have mentioned, Cooler's active skill, him actually getting the crit is huge, because his active skill, the Supernova, did 12 million damage to BROLY. If you don't crit against AGL BROLY, it does like 2 million. It is a huge difference because of the type disadvantage. And then, of course, by transforming the STR Cooler into the final form, he gets guaranteed crits because he's fighting a Pure Saiyan. He did get the additional super, so he did a pretty reasonable amount of damage. Unfortunately, the friend LR Cooler, even though I think the friend has like 28 crit or 27 crit, something like that, not getting a lot of crits on these additional supers, which is unfortunate. In fact, he didn't crit a single time, did he? Very unfortunate, because if all of those had been crits, we would have potentially been very close to actually winning on this turn, because Janemba doesn't do a huge amount of damage. Now, fortunately, Cooler got, what was it, 4 super attacks off, and we have a Whis active, so he takes what? Yeah, 32k. Pretty good, considering the other leader is only a 170 lead as well. If it was double Cooler leads, that would have been even lower than that, so pretty decent. Double super from Tech Janemba here is really good as well, because with a single Whis active, even from a super, he wouldn't take a lot of damage now after raising his defense twice, but he only has to eat normal attacks, so double digits. And then here we are on the final turn. So we have the Whis active. I say the final turn. Do we actually finish him off this turn? So in terms of who's going to be able to deal the most damage, it's going to be BROLY, right, with his active skill. If we put Janemba in slot 1 and BROLY in slot 2, Janemba wouldn't have access to big bad bosses, and I really wanted BROLY to be able to get the active skill here, because if we put Janemba in slot 1, even linked up with Final Form Cooler, he wouldn't do as much damage as BROLY is potentially able to do here. So we do get lucky with no super in slot 1. I think BROLY would survive it with the Whis active. I didn't check to see what his defense was up to at this point. But obviously, bearing in mind he already has the 18% damage reduction, if his defense was high enough, with the Whis stacked on top of that, he would be able to survive it. But no super in slot 1, so we get the Dokkan attack off with him. We're obviously hoping for as many additional supers as possible on this turn, because on the active skill turn, obviously BROLY is able to do a ton of damage. So we do get a crit on the initial super. We get an additional super here nice and early. So this is now a second super, just over 4 million attack. Do we get a crit on this one? We do. Very nice. And then we get the third one as well. So that was a pretty good turn for BROLY, right? He can attack 4 times. We got all 4 attacks, and 3 of them were supers. All the supers crit as well. So very good showing by BROLY on this turn. His defense is now going to be very high, as well as the added damage reduction. So he tanks all of those attacks very, very nicely. And then LR Janemba. My LR Janemba does only have 1 dupe, so he's fully built up at this point, but it was only his 12 key super attack. And then look at Tech Final Form Cooler. I mean, he links up reasonably well with Janemba, but they're not like the best link partners or anything. And he's putting out over 4.5 million, and then the triple super turn. So I didn't want to be upstaged by BROLY, decided to triple super. If the last one had been a crit, he actually would have killed him. And then after 3 supers, type advantage, and a Whis, he takes 12,000 damage from a super attack. So very, very impressive by Tech Cooler. And then we get the heal from the Dokkan attack and from Turles as well. I do a quick defense check here. Final Form Cooler is at 500k, slightly higher than the LR. So literally at this point, it is a case of if he doesn't super in slot 1, we win. If he supers, we die. And he didn't super. So TUR EZA Cooler can come in here and plant the BROLY tree, guaranteed crit, and then that is BROLY taken out. So there you go. That is the mission to defeat the Red Zone BROLY stage using a team of each of the extreme typings without using your own 200% leader. So if you have Turles and well, I mean, you'd obviously need all the units to make this exact team. If you're missing out certain units, like the LR Janemba, I don't know who I would replace. Like, physical Final Form Cooler could be pretty good, but then you're running a lot of Final Form Coolers on the team. So maybe if you're switching him in, don't bring the tech one and bring Golden Freezer. There are a couple of options, and like I said at the beginning, you can use Cooler himself as the leader with his 170 lead. So there you go. That is the mission done without your own 200% leader. Hopefully this helps some people out if you were having trouble building a team for this. And I will do a Super Types one as well. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.